Dan with another great
Dan,
question.
back at it. What are some standout cars that you've experienced? They don't have to be the fastest or least scratched, just ones that stick out in your memories.
In a good way or a bad way?
I guess always.
Yeah.
So I had a 73 3/4 ton Chevy pickup that was rolled down a hill. I drove it to school. It was the car I drove in high school. And I loved that thing because it was fully rusted out. I mean, the fender wells all the way around had just been completely eaten free. The floorboards were also rusted out, and the only thing really keeping you from falling through was the carpet. But that truck was so fun to drive everywhere because the whole underside was new. So it had a new engine, new transmission, new front rear differentials, new transfer case. Everything was brand new underneath. Had new tires. The wheels were old and flaky, and it looked hideous.
Ratty.
But I used to take that thing through the car wash down the street here, and I got that sucker so clean that you could eat off of it, but it was heavily rusted out. Wow. And every time I'd run it through, you'd have to make sure you had somebody or maybe a cinder block on the side to hold the carpet down as it was going through, because the wind would catch up under the things from the blowers and it would lift the carpet up. So, but I loved it because I could drive it anywhere. As a 16, 17-year-old kid, let's just say maybe you bumped into some trash cans or you hit something. My dad didn't ever notice if there was a new dent on it because it was so beat. I miss that. I miss that truck because of just the hideousness and ugliness of it.
That's funny.
That I wish I could have something like that again, where people are like, I can't believe you drive this thing every day. And that thing was crazy reliable. I drove that thing for almost 10 years.
Well, now you got to do it, but it's got to be a sleeper.
I know.
Yeah.
You know?
Now that's what it's going to have to be. But
And since we're on the first page, we're not in as big of a rush now that I know, so we can go around the horn. And if anybody wants to contribute, go ahead.
Cool.
Well, I'd say I had a tie. So mine was two completely, vastly different cars. My 79 911 SC. It was just an amazing car. And it back then, it was just a car that you drove it. You had to drive it. And it was amazing. And then opposite of that, you got to see it. 2003 H1 Hummer. That truck was, everybody rags on him. You either love him or hate him.
oh, I'm still in love with H1. I'd still love to have one.
The day that I put it up for sale, my wife goes, I wish you would do this, you're going to regret it. And it's one of the biggest, that and the 911. I regret selling both of them. And if I had to pick one, I don't know which, I'd have to put, name in the hat and draw one because I love both of them.
Yeah, fair.
Fun cars.
Well, Gordon?
When I turned 19, I traded that 510 I mentioned earlier. Didn't trade it, sold it, and bumped up to a 70 Irish Green 911S.
Oh.
And that car really kind of opened up my eyes as to what sports cars were like, cars of the 70s. And I really regret having sold that car many years ago. That was just really a delightful, pure sports car.
No, can't.
And Irish Green, it's like, really?
Yeah.
A green sports car, right?
Yeah.
Well, it turns out Irish Green was Ferdinand Porsche's favorite color.
Oh.
I didn't realize that.
That's
and
pretty rad.
Alois Roof, the roof Porsches, right? Well, they can't call them a Porsche, it's a roof. That's his favorite color, too, which is kind of
awesome.
Yeah,
That's
a little tidbit trivia there. Yeah.
For Sid? Yeah, Sid.
I think for me, I think it's probably my Pontiac G8. I think that for a couple different reasons. I mean, one, it was just a really cool car, and there was very few of them made. It was a major sleeper car.
Yep.
And it was also the car that I went from the SUV as a mom with 2 5-point harnesses, car seats, and I got to go back to a sedan.
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool. So that was a turning moment in my career as a mother. So that was kind of exciting. But then I also got this really awesome V8 sleeper that was so fun to drive. I loved it. But then on top of that, it was also the reason that I went into my business. Yeah. So, it will always hold a special place in my heart for that reason. That's cool. And I would give anything to have it back.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
I wish I wouldn't have sold it.
Anthony?
It's not even a car I own. My friend Randy, he didn't know how to drive stick shift, and he was looking at cars to buy. Found a yellow Mini Cooper S, a supercharged Mini Cooper S, right?
Yeah.
It was straight piped. It had already had some stuff done to it. Didn't know how to drive it. I had to teach him how to drive it. But by me teaching him how to drive it, he felt more comfortable with me driving it for about a week and a half. That's probably the most fun I've ever had in a small car like that. Those supercharged, they are
So fun.
they are a riot. They're so small, they're so fun. The transmission feels very good, very notchy. And then I would say that was just a stand-up car. Remember, it was a piece of crap, but holy crap, it was fun while we had it. It was good. And then it blew up. He forgot to put oil in it. But anyways,
Yeah.
Oops.
Dane?
For me, it was probably the first time I drove an NA Miata that really stood out to me because I've driven a fair number of cars, lots of diverse different kinds of cars and stuff, but I'd never driven rear-wheel drive something that small and that light, and it was just a whole different experience putting the top down and being able to drive. It felt like a toy. I'm a larger guy, so it was a different experience sitting in that, but as soon as I drove one once, it belonged to my ex's dad, I had to go out and find one. So I looked out, found a clapped out one that I wanted to fix up, and it kind of became my thing. So I fell in love with that car, and I would get another one.
That's cool.
If it popped up for the right, price.